And I think, all right. Hey, how you guys doing? It is Sunday. We have pushed the time back to 7 p.m. I appreciate everybody being here. As usual, I see the comments in the chat, but I just want to make sure we're live. So I'm going to make sure we're live just to make sure I see. He said, MHL said, fixing to have a drink. All right. Let's make sure we are live. I think my phone is acting crazy, but I think you guys, okay, sounds good. So I guess we are live. So we are live tonight. MHOA said drumming fingers on the desk. Thank you for joining us tonight, MHOA. Jaron from Impress You Florals. I appreciate you guys being here. MHOA say I'm fixing to have a drink. Yes, have a drink and come with a lot of good questions tonight. We have a wonderful guest tonight, which is Tanya from Guided Insurance. So we totally appreciate her being here tonight. As usual, I like to tell people, if you are able to watch this live, don't forget to chat with us in the comments. This is the purpose of going live, to have this community engage in conversation. We appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching us on a replay, let us know where you're tuning in from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share as well. And if you guys are here tonight, please like and share as well. Hey, David Matney from Omaha, Nebraska. He is a realtor out of Omaha, Nebraska. David Matney, wonderful guy. MHOA is out of Denver, Colorado. Excellent person. I believe Denver, Colorado, right? MHOA. And Jaron from Impress You Floors, it lives right here in Hampton, Georgia. So as we get started, you guys, like I said, we kind of pushed it back to 7 p.m. Let us know if this time frame is better. We're going to go from 7 to 8. But I want to introduce Tanya from Guided Insurance and let her give you guys a little bit about her and her background. So thank you, Tanya, for joining us. And I would love for you to introduce yourself to our guests.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Thank you for taking out some time to come learn about this exciting topic of homeowners insurance. So as Devon said, I am Tanya Isles Anderson. I am the owner of Guided Insurance. We're based here in Atlanta, Georgia, licensed to sell insurance and financial services throughout the whole state of Georgia, and licensed to sell life insurance and financial services throughout the whole state of North Carolina. Open Guided Insurance, we're off to a great start. We pride ourselves on great customer service. We love to hear clear to close, just like a real estate agent. And then as soon as we get the details about the home from either the mortgage loan officer, the realtor, we go to work right away on getting that homeowner's quote ready so that we are not the holdup on the closing. Okay, so that's just a little bit about our company, and excited to be here tonight and answer your questions about homeowners insurance.
Yes, and we appreciate Tanya being here tonight. So you guys have a home, so ask those questions about your insurance. And if you're a home buyer looking to buy, ask questions. But we'll start off with the basic question for Tanya. What exactly is homeowners insurance? Like a little breakdown about it.
Okay, so homeowners insurance, as opposed to renters insurance, there are some similarities and some differences. So in homeowners insurance, your policy is going to cover your stuff, or in the insurance world, we call it your contents. So that would be if you took that house, turned it upside down, and let everything fall out, all of that stuff that fell out would be called contents. Okay, and your homeowners insurance would cover that stuff. The homeowners insurance also covers the structure itself. So the house, it'll cover any of those other things that might be on the property, like a pool, a shed, a separate carport or garage. So it's the property, the contents. It also has some coverage built in there for liability. So if someone comes to your home and they get hurt, then those dollars would be what would use to cover those expenses. So it covers interior damage as well. So if you have a busted water pipe, those are usually things that are covered. The other thing about homeowners insurance, and the distinction I want to make, is that sometimes people confuse it with a home warranty. Okay, so it's not that at all. Okay, a home warranty is a separate contract that's optional. Usually you'll pay for that for an annual term, monthly. And then if you have a breakdown with something in your home, your water heater, your plumbing, your HVAC, depending on what level of coverage you got from that warranty, then you call that warranty company. They'll send out a service person, usually they'll fix the covered item. Okay, so that's a home warranty. So that's separate from homeowners insurance. Okay, and then the other thing I want to make a distinction between is mortgage insurance. You'll hear about that when you're talking to your lender. So again, homeowners insurance and mortgage insurance are not the same thing. The mortgage insurance is there to protect the lender in the event that the homeowner is no longer able to make the payments. The lender will still get their money. Okay. And then finally, most cases, homeowners insurance is not optional if you have a mortgage. Okay, so as a condition of getting the loan and getting the funds, you'll have to show proof that you've got a homeowner's insurance policy. So that's what I was talking about when I said we like to hear clear to close, because we know at Guided Insurance how important we are in the process to getting your loan closed and getting you moved into your house. Now, I'd like to back up, though, and offer a disclaimer. In the world of insurance and financial services, we definitely try to shy away from using words like all, every, always, anything that's like certain like that, because it's all very individual. Okay. What's covered on one home might not be covered on another home. So I have to be careful not to make false claims that, just because one home is covered on their roof, that yours is too, just because yours is the same age and all of that. Without seeing the actual policy, we can't for certain say what you're covered for. So just want to put that out there.
And so, yeah, I love that you made that distinction between homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance, and also a home warranty, because people do interchange them. And they don't understand what they kind of cover. So I love that you did that. We are going to start with, I had questions, but I love that these are people that are joining us in the chat tonight. David, MH08, are giving some questions. So we're going to jump right into their questions. And I'm going to try to intertwine mine inside there as well. Tanya, David said, what is one thing you wish first-time home buyers knew about homeowners insurance?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I've had the opportunity to connect with a lot of real estate agents here lately. They're hosting in-person first-time home buyer meetings. And I've been fortunate enough to attend some of those and speak about homeowners insurance. So in my talk that I do at those in-person ones is I make that comparison between what their renter's insurance covers versus what their homeowner's insurance covers. I explained to them why the price is so different for the two. And then I also, and the main thing is because when you buy homeowners insurance, you're now responsible for everything, not just your items, but the whole structure itself and what's going on outside. So the other thing that first-time home buyers are not sure about homeowners insurance is that it's required. Especially if they've been living in a rental and they've opted to not get renter's insurance. Sometimes they're caught off guard that this is not optional if you're going to have a mortgage. And then finally, what I try to tell everyone, whether they're first-time home buyers or seasoned, home buyers, is that it's in your best interest to try to do whatever you can do to avoid filing a claim. Okay, it's just that plain and simple. So take a proactive approach. The weather forecasters are a lot better in most states now with all the technology that they have. So if they tell you that your area is going to be impacted or potentially impacted by high winds, a lot of rain, and if you've got grills and just other things in your backyard that could fly around, fall over, take a moment to secure those things ahead of the storm so that you reduce your likelihood of having to file a claim. Because the thing about claims is they follow that home, okay? And if you have too many of them in a row in a short amount of time, it's going to increase your premium. And in the worst case scenario, could cause the insurance company to drop you altogether. So those are the points I wish that people knew about homeowners insurance.
I heard someone say hi. Hi, Sarinthia. How you doing? Hi, Lang. How you doing? She said hello, everyone. So, and before we jump into MH08's question in regards to you, like you said with the homeowners insurance, I heard someone say that even if you're a renter, right, and if you are renting and you do a lot of renter insurance claims, that if you try to buy in the future, that can mess you up too to get homeowners insurance as a buyer because you have so many rental claims kind of as a renter. How does that kind of work? Because I heard someone mention that before.
Right. I don't think it's direct. I think it's an indirect impact because those renters claims will actually show up on your credit. Now there's a thing called an insurance score, and we won't want to get too deep into that tonight, but it's separate from a credit score. But your credit score matters. So those repeated renters claims end up showing up there. And it's the same, as if you were a homeowner and really responsible for everything. You want to be as proactive as you can be, because the insurance company, they want to make sure they balance their budget, balance their cash flow so that when catastrophic storms come and they have to pay out a lot of claims, they want to make sure they can afford to do it. So having someone who has parked their car outside right under a tree and the news weather person's been telling you for 3 days, a big storm is coming, bring your cars in if you can, move them to another part of the yard. And you just completely ignore that. And then you get up the next morning and a tree is on your car. That's a claim that could have been avoided, and that's the kind of thing that will raise your premium, as I said, possibly cause you to become uninsurable, and then end up mad at the insurance company about that. When you totally could have done something to make that situation better.
So so these are good points, you guys. Like David said, great points. I know he was mentioning it between like the different insurances as what you were saying, but this kind of goes hand in hand with that as well. MH08, I know Tanya, like I said, I had given Tanya some questions, but you guys are coming with the questions early, so I love it. MH08 said, my roof is 5 years old. Last roof cost just $11,000. I renewed June 1st, currently not covering the roof. For about an extra $180 a year can get the roof covered. I have a $5,000 deductible. So I don't.
What's the question, MH08?
Yeah, I guess what's the question? Kind of trying to fill this question out.
Or are you just making a statement? Maybe he's just making a statement.
Maybe. So I guess we'll kind of take this question and the question's right here. Here it is. It says, how do I decide whether to put the roof in the insurance? Also, agent told me in 4 years, full replacement wouldn't be available for my roof. So I guess he was making all that and then bringing this question is, how do I decide whether to put the roof in the insurance?
Oh, wow. Okay. And what state did you say MH08 is in?
So he's in Denver, Colorado. He's in Colorado.
Okay. That's the other thing about insurance. It is so familiar with the Georgia rules. I don't have any experience with your state. Your agent that told you, though, 4 years, full replacement won't be available. How well do you know your agent? Is it someone you just picked off the internet or someone you've had a relationship with for a while?
So I would say, so I guess we'll, while we get MH08 to answer that question, I guess I'll just jump into it in regards to the roof, right? I hear a lot of insurance companies kind of changing things over. Well, if it's like the roof is 10 plus years old, 15 years old, it might be harder for them to want to cover said roof, right? Even if, most people will buy houses and they'll have these roofs that'll say 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of roof, like, the span of the roof per se. And however, I've been hearing lately, a lot of insurance companies, like if the roof is more than 15 years old or 10 years old, some of them might not want to cover it. They might say, hey, you might want to go with a local insurance company that could possibly cover it. They might charge you more because of the roof being a little older. So I guess what is the best way if somebody, say if I'm about to sell my house tomorrow, and I had a roof that's 20 years old, do you think it's better for me to put an insurance claim in on the roof, or do you think it's better for me to go out and find a roofer, get an estimate, and see how much it might cost to kind of replace or fix the roof?
Right. I would say the best thing to do would be to check all of your options before
Okay.
you go with any of them. So I like the two that you gave. So I would say, get an estimate from your current insurance carrier. And I always advise to not auto renew your policy. Always shop around, okay, because the prices do change. The discounts that are available to you do possibly change. So, definitely it's in your best interest to kind of always shop around ahead of your renewals. So I would say compare all of your options in a situation like that. And of
Okay.
course, we all want to save as much money as we can. Um,
Mhm.
so definitely do that. Get some estimates, from comparative insurance carriers, roofers, and then you could also work that through the real estate agents. And be like, okay, the roof is this age. You might have an issue, so let's throw in some money for that, to help
Mhm.
towards it, or take some money off something, off the sale price or something, just whatever you can do on that side too. And I'd go with the least expensive option.
Okay, I agree. I agree. MHO8 said somebody he inherited when the last agent quit. So he inherited a different agent when his last agent quit.
Understand. Yeah, that happens. That definitely happens. I would just advise you to talk to that agent, who's telling you that. Try to get a better understanding of your policy and why he or she is saying that. And then go from there. Again, with you being in a whole different state, I mean, not seeing your policy, it's hard for me to really know exactly what you have right now.
My dad is here today. Hey, my dad, James Clark. He joined us. Um, so he said, MHO said, LOL, when you shop around, they always find something that'll cost the same or more than just renewing. So he said,
Oh,
when you shop
that's not always true. Give us a break, MHOA.
David said, when a buyer first buys a home, does the insurance company inspect the roof? How do they determine if the roof is insurable?
Oh, okay. Let's see. And you're talking about an existing home?
Yes, and a
Okay,
resale home,
like a resale.
because
Okay.
I know, yeah, because I
Hmm.
know sometimes once you buy the house, I don't know if people know this, but I've noticed from experience that, and sometimes insurance company will send out an adjuster. They'll
Hmm.
like look at the roof like a
Yes.
month, and like 30 days after you buy it, they out there looking at the roof to try to make sure you didn't tell them anything crazy about the roof. But I don't know. I know you're an insurance agent, so please
Mhm.
let us know how this kind of works.
Yes, yes. Insurance companies definitely do inspect the roof. Sometimes it'll be a physical adjuster that will go look at it. Sometimes it will be a drone. So yes, the roofs do get inspected and rated, and then all of
Mhm.
that is factored into your premium.
Because I've had a friend of mine. He bought a house, and he closed, and he actually was redoing the roof. So I guess he had got money from the concessions to kind of
Hmm.
redo the roof. And in the time period that he was redoing the roof, he had some of the shingles down on the ground, and they were doing it. And an adjuster came out, and an adjuster saw that they were doing the roof, and they dropped I think he was with State Farm, and they dropped him. Like they
Ooh,
dropped the insurance on the house because they said that, I guess they saw that they were, fixing the roof or redoing the roof, so they had dropped them. So I'm like, so
ooh.
it's been very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
Uh,
like a lot of people have had issues with roofs. That's weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
my mom had an issue too. That's why I wanted to kind of talk more about insurance, because even my mom, she had a house down here in Georgia. She had, at the time I wasn't licensed down here in Georgia. She had used the realtor across the street. Her neighbor had sold their house. They had a realtor that they used. My mom
Mhm.
ended up using that realtor, and the realtor, when they inspect the house, they had talked about the roof, the buyers, and the realtor told her to go do an insurance claim on the roof to get the roof fixed. So my mom did that instead of like really understanding the process per se. She just went and
Mhm.
did the insurance claim, and then when she moved up to Pennsylvania, where she's at now, into Philly, she wanted to buy a house. But when she went to try to do the home insurance, they were like, "Oh, you have a claim that's followed you because it not only does it stick with the house, but it follows you as a person when you write the claim." And they were like, because of that, they couldn't give her home the insurance as a buyer per se. So
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
yes. That's unfortunate that your mom was, given that direction, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I told her, I
I
was like, "Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you talk to me?"
Yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, this world we live in, there's a lot of misinformation out there on all kinds of topics. You know, the internet is our friend and our enemy all at the same time when it comes to some of this stuff. So I would say, that's the value of doing business with an agent that you can get to know, or an
Mhm.
agency that you can get to know, as opposed to just, taking whoever you're assigned on the internet, or in the case of, I think it was MH08, his other agent, retired, quit, sold, whatever, and now you're with this new person. Take some time to get to know your agent so that when your questions come up, you can feel confident in the answers that you're getting and confident that they have your best interest in mind. And then at the same time, go ask another agent in your state,
Mhm.
whole nother company, whole nother carrier, and just kind of see if you get the same answers. Because again, with insurance, it's a very take it or leave it kind of setup. I can't give any special discounts to my friends. They
Mhm.
get the same, if they both have the same circumstances, I can't give a special discount to my friend just because they're my friend. It's going to be the same
Mhm.
price for them as it is for the stranger,
Mhm.
given that their situations are apples to apples. So, with some of these things, it's going to be state specific. It's going to be, it is what it is. Um, and when you check with another carrier and a whole nother agent, you should get the same answer if what you're being told is right.
And so let's I guess we'll jump into the whole thing in regards to water damage. So if someone has home insurance, and should they, I guess, how much of, again, I know every state is different and every insurance policy is different per se, but when it comes to water damage, how much does the regular home insurance policy cover in regards to water damage? And then um, should people look into flood insurance, because I know that kind of differs.
Hmm. Right. So, in again, keeping it general, okay, because it just
Mhm.
depends on how your current coverage is written. It depends on what endorsements perhaps you've added to it, and depends on the state guidelines. So in Georgia, most basic insurance policies will cover water that's caused by something internal. So a busted
Okay.
water pipe, okay, inside your house. In most cases. Now, again, the insurance company, they're going to do everything they can to minimize how much they have to pay out. Okay. So they are going to send out the adjuster. They are going to inspect what happened. They are going to try to find out, how did this happen? Okay. Could this have been prevented? All those kinds of things are going to be determined. Um, so, but again, typically with basic homeowners insurance coverage, things that generate inside the house, leaks that generate inside the house are going to be covered. Okay.
Okay.
However, when it comes to what's called acts of God or acts of war, so that would be things outside your home that you totally can't control. Um, in most cases, if it's a hurricane or a tornado, uh, those are typically covered. Again, not I didn't say in all, okay, typically,
Mhm.
right? Um, However, if it's earthquake, or flash flood, or something like that, then those are typically not covered under your basic policy, but you can purchase additional coverage for those.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good to know. So MH08 asked the question, Do medical claims affect homeowners?
They will have an effect. If you use that coverage that's on your policy, yes. Because again, part of what we do when we write the policies as agents is it's part of our job to kind of do what we call field underwriting. So where we're kind of asking some questions as part of the process to get a handle on, is this going to be a claim prone person? And is this the kind of person that I really want to insure? Is it going to be somebody I'm going to hear from every week? That something's
Okay.
happened, you know, and take up time from my staff to deal with them. Then they end up in the claims process, and their claims are getting denied. So then they get mad at the local agent. They get mad at the corporate carrier. They're mad at everybody except themselves. Okay. So again, you want to, when you're getting your policy, you want to make sure you have adequate coverage and use it in the right circumstances, but don't abuse it. So yeah.
So don't overuse it. Hey, Chloe, how you doing this Memorial Day week? And happy Memorial Day weekend to you as well, as we memorialize all our fallen soldiers. Appreciate you joining us live tonight. We have Tanya here from Guided Insurance. She is a insurance agent out of the state of Georgia. So she's answering questions. A lot of them will, be specific to Georgia. However, we can have a generalized conversation around insurance, and then you can always follow up with your local insurance agent just to make sure it makes sense to your state. David said, typically, is homeowners insurance cheaper for new construction? So if someone's buying a new construction house, is it cheaper?
Right. There are a lot of factors that determine the price or monthly premium, we call it, that you're going to pay for your homeowners. So, if the brand new house is only valued at $300,000 versus, a larger, older home, that newer one might not necessarily be less expensive. There are going to be a lot of factors that determine that price. When you think about new construction, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about the warranty. The new construction is going to come with some warranties that you possibly could use to cover some things. So it might appear that your homeowner's insurance is a little cheaper, even though they're different. But that's not really a comparison that you can make as far as the price of new construction versus existing home without knowing all the other factors.
Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense. Like David said, please, guys, make sure you hit that like button. It helps us kind of get through the algorithm. Thank you, David, for reminding everybody to do so. Ringtail Cable said, great job on this, Tanya.
That's my nephew.
Oh, that's your nephew. Well, thank you, nephew, for joining. Appreciate you for coming on and cheering on your auntie. Appreciate it. So I have a question as well. Outside of the thing about water damage per se. Before we jumped on, I was asking a question about fire damage. So how, as far as when it comes to homeowner insurance, how much of or what type of items or things does the homeowner insurance cover when it comes to like fire damage?
Right. So your policy is going to cover internal damage, external damage, liability for people that get hurt on your property. So the fire is something that's typically covered in most basic homeowners insurance policies. So now, when we write your policy, we're going to do an inventory on the things inside your home. So certain things, depending on their value, might need separate coverage for them to be covered. So if you think about a rare coin collection, you think about very expensive jewelry, very expensive furs, art, things like that, you may want to get additional coverage on those to make sure that in the unfortunate event that your home's a total loss from a fire, that you've got adequate coverage to cover all of those items. But typically, if it's inside the home and you've got a valid current homeowner's policy, that when it was written at the appropriate value to cover
Okay.
your home. Okay, a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
Then you would be covered.
Okay. And then I have another question.
One more thing to add
Okay.
to that.
Yep.
As with all claims, they're going to be investigated as well. So, so again, determining the cause and other factors would be put in there too.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So I have another question. We're going to jump into some more questions from our wonderful people that are joining us tonight. So I had another question. So I had met a lady at a home buyers seminar event. I go to like a lot of them. I met you at a networking event, a home, the whole thing as far as realtor networking event and everything. Because I like to kind of go out, meet more people in the profession. But I met a young lady, and even though I knew this, she wasn't sure about it. But she came up to the table that a home insurance agent was at, and she said, "Hey, when I pass away, I have grandchildren, and I want to make sure that," she was like, does my home insurance cover the rest of my mortgage to pay it off so that my grandkids will be able to inherit the house without having to pay for said mortgage?" Of course, I knew the answer, but I want to ask you, does homeowners insurance cover if someone should pass away the rest of their mortgage, or should they get a different insurance policy to do so?
Absolutely. Okay. Wow. That's great that the person asked the question. And hopefully they were able to go somewhere and get the right answer. If not, please have them contact my agency. Okay. Because I can help them out with that. So no, your homeowner's insurance, again, is designed to cover that structure and the things in it. So not your mortgage. Part of the money that you pay on your mortgage is used to pay your homeowner's insurance. So no, homeowner's insurance that's not the function or purpose of it. But what is a good way to have that happen is to get life insurance. You'll hear a lot of agents now calling it, instead of calling it life insurance, they'll call it mortgage protection insurance.
Okay.
Just trying to help make that connection for people, because sometimes when we call it life insurance, it turns people off. It scares them. It makes them think about death, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's the protection that you would want to get to do what that lady is talking about. So, for example, if that lady knows that she's got 20 years left to pay on her mortgage, she might go get a 20-year term life insurance policy. And then she could put her grandkids on there as the beneficiaries. And then, when she passes away, they will get that payout. She would probably come out better if she would also do a will that specifically says what she wants her grandkids to do with this money that they're going to inherit, so that they don't go use it to travel and buy houses for everybody else and do everything their grandmother didn't want them to do. So that is what I would suggest with that. So I can handle the life insurance out of my agency. And then I have several colleagues that I can refer that can help with that estate planning, the rest of the estate planning, which would be the powers of attorney, the will, depending on the amount of value involved in it, the trust.
And that's good. That's good information. So if anybody, if you have homeowners insurance, know that it goes beyond homeowners insurance if you want to kind of travel down that avenue. So yeah, I had mentioned that. I didn't mention it as in depth as you, but I told the lady, I said, you might want to get life insurance to handle that, because the regular homeowner insurance, it doesn't do that. Eddie said, hey, Eddie Smallhorn. He said, hey, Clark and the gang. Eddie, him and his wife, they are wonderful YouTubers in the real estate space as well. His wife is Christina Smallhorn. Excellent people. So go over to their channel when you get a chance, Tanya. Like and subscribe to their channel as well. And also, David as well. David and from Omaha, living in Omaha with David. So let's jump to Chloe's question. Chloe said, Is durable medical equipment something that would need additional coverage?
Durable medical equipment. So you're talking like wheelchairs, walkers, things like that. That most likely would be covered just under your basic policy. Typically, those things that need the additional coverage are things that are really high valued. If you're kind of thinking about maybe your power chair, I know those are pricey, but most likely, particularly when your policy's written, your agent would have put enough into your coverage to take care of that, and you would just list that equipment on your documents as far as what was lost or damaged.
So do you think it's a good thing too for people to kind of when you move into the house, you have all your stuff in there, take pictures or do like some video recording to kind of remember the things that you have in your house if anything should happen, like a flood or fire or anything, to kind of document what's in the house when you try to get it, talk to the insurance company, kind of get that payout.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is definitely a great idea to do that, and to do it regularly. Because you're going to buy things and get rid of things. As life goes on. So for sure, definitely those high dollar things you'll want to make sure those sentimental items you'll want to make sure those are documented as well, because if your policy's written right. And in the event that you have a devastating fire, this happened to my parents, at our family home in North Carolina. My aunt was our agent, and she always made sure that our family members had very, very good coverage. So when the house caught on fire, everybody got out safely. My parents were able to just go straight from the burned house to a furnished apartment. No money exchanged for that, was already covered in the policy. As they needed to buy food, they just needed to keep receipts, turn those in periodically. And the fire was in April. The rebuild of the house was complete in like October of the same year.
Oh, wow.
So it was it was devastating, it was the family home,
Yeah.
but the insurance coverage was rock solid, and it made a terrible situation a whole lot easier to deal with because we had the right coverage. So yes, having an idea, a for sure list of what you had makes it a lot easier when it's time to fill out those forms for reimbursement.
Good. So remember, you guys, document stuff if you can. I know it can kind of be, very monotonous. I guess I'm saying that as far as like trying to do all that, but definitely do that. Let's see, Amy said my dog's playing.
When we say document, it's like, okay, you don't have to be so specific and say, okay, I had 10 pairs of jeans. You can kind of lump all your clothes together, and say, oh, that stuff was probably worth, a couple $1,000s or whatever,
Okay.
But then maybe you have, just some really special, evening gowns or, something like that. Then you might want to, more itemize that so that you get your reimbursement for that.
Makes sense. So, David said, Tanya, with the substantial increase in home price appreciation in the past few years, how important is it to make sure a homeowner is carrying enough coverage?
Oh, that's a great question. It is so, so important. And that's why a good insurance agent is going to reach out to you as a customer and schedule an insurance review. And during that insurance review, they're going to look at all the policies that you have. They're going to make suggestions of policies that you don't have that you qualify for and probably should have. So it's very important to do those reviews, to make, for the exact reason that you said, to make sure you've got enough coverage. Because if your home value has increased, and some of this gets picked up in your renewal, but if something's happened and it's caused it to increase even more, then you definitely want to adjust your policy accordingly.
And so that's good to know. Lang said, "Hi, Miss Tanya. I know someone who had her roof replaced. We kind of was touching on this a little bit earlier. The roof caused leaks within the ceiling. Can she place a claim to get the ceiling repaired? Should she pay cash to get the roof replaced?" So I guess she's trying to figure out, should she place a claim or should she just pay the cash to get the roof replaced?
Ooh, that one's going to be sticky because it sounds like she replaced the roof with cash, so she didn't file a claim for the roof. So then I can see if she tried to file a claim now about that leak, it's going to go back on whoever did that roof replacement. Is most likely what the insurance company is going to say. Now, again, what state is Norma? What state are you in, Norma?
Lang, what state did this happen in? I know she's in Delaware, but I don't know where her friend is at. So I don't know what state her friend is in, but I know she's in Delaware. But yeah, that's a stick situation. So let us know in the comments where it's happened at.
PA. Okay. Yeah, I would have to refer you to a licensed Pennsylvania agent, and also looking at the specific policy that your friend has too. But again, just seeing the surface here, it sounds like that's going to be a tough one to get the insurance company to pay, because kind of back on what something Devon was saying earlier, when your policy starts, the insurance agency is insuring the home in the state it's in. Okay, so then when you come doing things to it that they find out about after the fact, they're like, we didn't cover that, you know. So so this sounds like she should go back to whoever did the roof replacement. Is really what it sounds like to me. But there could be something about in Pennsylvania that protects homeowners about this. So check with a couple of Pennsylvania agents.
Good to know. Hey, Angela, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. She said good info. So this is wonderful info. You know, Tanya is a licensed insurance agent out of the state of Georgia. However, again, having questions, just having conversation around insurance is always great. And then you can take these questions back and ask your local insurance provider as well. But it's definitely great to have Tanya, and we appreciate her for taking the time out this Sunday on this Memorial Day weekend to join us. My dad said, does home insurance cover certain natural disasters? We kind of touched on this a little bit, but I guess we can dive a little bit more, such as flooding, hurricanes, or is that separate coverage?
Okay. So yeah, my disclaimer at the beginning was that, insurance is a very individual thing. Good insurance agents are very cautious about saying things like every, always, in anything that's certain like that. Okay. Because it's all very specific. It can get state specific. And then it definitely can be, home specific and home buyer specific and homeowner specific. But in the state of Georgia, most basic policies are going to cover floods that were caused by something that happened inside the home as part of your basic coverage. They're going to cover hurricane damage. They're going to cover tornado damage. Okay. Most. Okay. Again, you would want to look at your specific policy, your specific coverage. We're happy to review your coverage for you at Guided Insurance and explain, if your coverage is through some other company, explain what you've got to the best of our ability. When it comes to what we call acts of war, acts of God, things that totally are out of your control, those typically do require some type of separate coverage. So that would be flash floods, that would be earthquakes. So things like that would require the separate coverage. And again, when you're purchasing your basic homeowner's insurance, your agent should inform you of those things and offer you those coverages.
So that's good. That's good to know. So thank you, David. He said congrats on hitting 1,000 subs. Thank you, David. As I mentioned last live, David was a key outside of everybody else, of course, joining and subscribing to the channel. But he texted me one Saturday morning and said, Clark, you one person shy of getting that 1,000 subscribers, and he reached out to his friends in his accountability group to make it happen. So I appreciate him and everybody else, of course, who has subscribed to the channel and keep coming back to get some great information around real estate and what's happening in this market, and then those little doses in between, and then having people like Tanya, of course, join to kind of give us some in-depth knowledge about insurance, because homeowners insurance is these small little things. Even if you're a homeowner or a home buyer, you read the coverage, you talk to your home insurance agent, and sometimes as people we kind of have it go in one ear out the other ear, so we don't we say yeah we understand it, but then when something happens and we try to follow, we're like, wait, I'm confused. So it's just good to get Tanya on here to talk. So I had made mention to this earlier with you, Tanya, before we jumped on live in regards to homeowners insurance, and in the sense of like, can you give more insight about the dwelling coverage as far as if someone should utilize replacement or the cash value when it comes to replacing like your dwelling if something should happen, like say like a fire should happen. What I guess I know it's very specific, but what do you feel might be the best route for somebody to take when it comes to that dwelling part of the insurance?
Right. So yeah, the dwelling portion of your insurance is going to be the most expensive portion of your policy because it's designed to rebuild your home. Okay. And you're exactly right. Two ways to do that. Full replacement coverage value of current time, or the actual cash value of what it's worth. So, of course, just like anything, when you get the top of the line of something, if you got a bronze, gold, and a bronze, silver, and a gold version, there's going to be price that's associated with those three levels. So when we're putting together your policy, we can do different things. We can adjust the deductible. How much you pay out of pocket first before the insurance kicks in. We can adjust some other things in the policy so that we can get to your budget, because most homeowners have an idea of how much I hate to use the word want, of course, they don't want to pay anything, but how much they can comfortably afford to pay.
Okay.
So determining whether we're going to do replacement or actual cash is one of those levers that we can pull to get you to your budget. In the case of my parents' home, it's a 4 sides brick ranch home. Yeah. Everything, whole roof, everything inside was basically destroyed. And we just had to start over. The bricks were saved. Okay. Yeah. So again, because my aunt was the agent, and when she wrote the policy, she was very thoughtful, and she didn't have foresight that this was going to happen to my parents, but thank God that she did. My parents' home is now one of, if not the most expensive home in the whole subdivision, because we got it, fully replaced with the top of the line stuff. So, but again, there's a cost associated with that along the way.
Let's see. David said, what happens if a roof, what happens is, I guess I'm going to say, if a roof replaces a roof and doesn't pull a permit, can it have a negative impact on any future insurance claims?
I would say, why are you dealing with people who aren't following the process? I mean, if they were supposed to pull a permit, and again, this would be a state specific thing, maybe even down to a county specific thing. But, that's why when the insurance company does pay for your claims, they have vetted, approved repair people, so that they're prepared to back up the work, pay to have it redone if the repair doesn't function the way that it's supposed to. But then when you're dealing with folks who are not following the process and who are not vetted, those are just chances that you take. So I mean, I would venture to say that someone that's going to shortcut something as simple as pulling a permit, I would question the quality of that work, and just not be sure I want them even messing with my home. And then as far as can it have a negative impact on your future insurance claims, it could, because again, similar to the other question, when you've had adjustments made to your home that were basically unauthorized, and then after the fact you come in and want the insurance company to sort of take some responsibility for it, that's a tough thing to sell.
Chloe said, do you believe there's more value in working with a small local insurance company or one of the bigger companies?
Right. Well, as a small business owner, and agency owner, I definitely am doing, my staff and I are definitely doing our best to show our customers and show our prospects the value of knowing who your agent is, the value of, being able to call, my customers have my agency cell phone, and I have it with me almost all the time. I'm checking emails almost all of the time. So there's definitely value in that. Yesterday, a customer called who's at a dealership buying a new car. There was some confusion on whether he had to hurry up and get insurance tomorrow or if that can wait till Tuesday. So it can wait till Tuesday if you've got current coverage already. So that's what we're going to do. So, that's the kind of value you get by working with a small local company. Now, I do happen to be an Allstate agent, but we are, again, independently owned and operated. So, Guided Insurance is mine, and I have the liberty to run my business the way I want to and provide whatever level of service that I want to provide.
Hey, good evening, Donna. Thank you for joining us tonight as well. Appreciate you for coming and joining us tonight outside of everybody else. Chloe, MHOA, David, Lang, my dad, Jaren, and also Tanya's nephew, and everybody else who's joining us live that might not be chatting in the comments tonight. But like Tanya said, I also agree as far as really create a relationship with everybody. And if you, so that way you feel more comfortable to ask more questions and kind of engage more to understand more, so I think it all depends on you as a person, right? How much do you reach out and do you create that relationship? So then that way you, that relationship creates more of a trust factor, and then you can, be able to work effectively with your home insurance agent, your realtor, your lender, and because you create that factor per se. MHOA, he said, no offense, but I'd rather go to the dentist than have to talk to my insurance agent. She's a nice lady.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He said it's much better than learning about insurance the hard way. Yeah, you don't want to learn about insurance the hard way.
You sure don't. Mm-mm.
You don't. He said, is there a sweet spot regarding a deductible, dollar or percentage wise?
When your agent is writing your policy, they can make those adjustments for you real time and just tell you what the impact is having on your premium. So, you just be upfront about what your goal is, and your agent can make adjustments accordingly. So, the way the deductible works, it's kind of like, okay, if you're going to pay a lower deductible, then you're probably going to pay more each month. Okay, it's kind of pay now or pay later is basically what it ends up being. So it's kind of like, when you think about the financial products that I also offer through my agency, we teach people to have 3 different accounts. You need your checking account that you use to pay your monthly weekly, daily expenses, gas, food, that kind of thing. Then you need a savings account that's at a bank, or credit union that's liquid, that you can go tap into that when you have an emergency that's, on the higher dollar side. Then you need those investment and retirement accounts where you're preparing for when you don't work anymore. And you're preparing to leave that inheritance for your children or your grandchildren or your nieces or nephews. So when you're thinking about insurance and the expenses associated with that, you want to think about, where am I with those three accounts? How am I when I look at my paycheck versus my monthly expenses? Am I in a paycheck to paycheck situation? Am I in a situation where I've got money in a savings account and it sits there untouched for a while? Then you might be the kind of person that can handle that higher deductible, because you're going to have money. You can pretty much count on, you're going to have money in your savings account, so that if you had an insurance claim and had to pay a deductible, you could just go get it right out of that savings account and keep on moving. But if you're in the other situation where, things are really tight, and if you got into a car accident that was your fault, would you rather have to come up with $500 right now, or would you rather have to come up with $1,000 right now? So, you have to just decide what's best for your budget.
That makes sense. So we're almost at the end, but I do want to ask Tanya another question as well in regards to insurance. So this is another scenario, because I bump into a lot of people, I go to a lot of events, a lot of questions, and you get a lot of knowledge from when you talk and you ask questions. So this one particular person had said to me, hey Devon, I want to call the insurance company to see if this is something that they might, like, say something happened in their house, they want to just call to see if it makes sense for them to do an insurance claim on it. So they called, they was like, should I call their 1-800 number just to ask a question? And I told them, I said, I think you should probably call your agents, the number you might have on the actual card, not the 1-800 number. Because I said, if you call the 1-800 number, even if you don't put a claim in, it still can possibly be a claim on your homeowner's insurance. So I'm not sure if I gave them the right information, but I tell people, just be careful with that when you call that 1-800 number, because it can, even if you don't put a claim in, it still will be a claim against your insurance. So I guess, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. That happened to me actually before I became an insurance agent. So yes, you do want to be careful about that. So it definitely goes back to the benefits of having a decent of enough relationship with your local agent to try to get some guidance on how to handle those things. We had a leak in one of our spare bedrooms coming from the roof. Our house was 1.5 years old, new construction.
Oh, wow.
So it was, out of the builder's warranty was over for that kind of thing. It was just about to be our problem, but because I am, I don't usually take no very easy when it comes to something's going to take a lot of money out of my pocket. So I knew that a new home just should not be leaking like this already, so I was able to find out the contact information for the roofing company, because these new homes are all subcontracted out. So I called that roofing company. They were very upset at my builder for pretending that they couldn't do anything about this, because there's a separate policy between the builder and the subcontractors that extends longer than the one between the builder and the home buyer. So I was able to get my roof repaired, the damage that was caused inside my house repaired at no expense to me, because I took that step to hold the people who were really responsible for this accountable. So you were exactly right. You want to be careful about calling that 1-800 number, and for most things, try to start with your local agent first, and then see how to proceed from there.
Okay, that's even good knowledge for people to have too. I know we're at the 8 o'clock time mark, but that's very great. That's a gem. So if anybody is watching this now or watching it later on, that Tanya just said that gem as far as buying a new construction, I didn't even know that. So I'm like blue, like wow, like because I do know there's a couple home inspectors that'll say in regards to all the these warranties per se, right? If they'll say like if the roof, when you're getting new construction, if the roof is not done correctly, or if like the HVAC or all those systems like the air conditioner outside and everything, if it's not placed correctly, it can kind of mess up the warranty too on some of these new constructions. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. But that's even good to know as far as that, like having that separate warranty outside of just the builder per se. So that's great. But we appreciate you, Tanya. David said, thanks again. Great guest. Yes, wonderful guest.
Thank you.
Tanya is an excellent guest. And we're gonna talk more with Tanya. We're gonna try to get some of Tanya's colleagues on as well, to kind of just jump into different realms of insurance, because they have commercial insurance. Try to dive more into like life insurance as far as how you guys can utilize that and your benefits even as a homeowner. Because I think some people don't realize how beneficial that could be in the homeowner field. And I just want people to know the whole thing around this channel, around what Tanya does, around what I do. We want to educate people and allow them to make more informative decisions when they either become homeowners, home buyers, or even if you are a renter and you're trying to get renter's insurance per se. I'm not sure if Tanya does that, but so I don't want to put her on the hook for that. But I'm just saying, as far as like, if you're, if you are looking for any insurance, because I know in the state of Georgia, when you rent a lot of these complexes or the homeowner, like the single family homes, they require to have home insurance, renter's insurance per se. So these are different things that you kind of want to take into consideration. So MHA will say all this information.
Yes, I can write renter's insurance, condo insurance, pets, life insurance, motorcycles, boats, RVs. Then on the commercial side or small business insurance side, I can do what they call general liability, professional liability, homeowners association. So, if you're in the state of Georgia, just reach out to my agency. Thing that can be most likely, I can find a way to get it done, if not directly through Guided Insurance, through one of my partner carriers.
Yes, MHA always say all this info this evening is why I was hoping somebody would have an insurance agent on. Yes, we love insurance agents, and if you guys want to reach Tanya, like she said, her company is called Guided Insurance. Her email is tanya@guidedinsuranceagency.com. If you're in the state of Georgia, or even if you just need her, I think she might be able to kind of refer you to some other partners around that she might have in possible other states. So reach out to her. A wealth of knowledge, wealth of information. Like I said, I appreciate Tanya being on tonight. But yeah, so it's Tanya, and she's at Guided Insurance. Tanya, with Isle Anderson, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes, you said it right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, make sure I say it right. And Tanya at GuidedInsuranceAgency.com. So we appreciate her for coming on tonight. Thanks. This was a great show. Thanks so much, everyone, for all the questions along with the participation. Continue to have a safe weekend. MHOA said, thanks, Tanya.
You're welcome. Thank you for the questions.
Yeah. Donna said, great show. Zarinthia said, thank you so much. Shay said, thank you guys. David said, have a great weekend. Again, if you guys are looking for other wonderful YouTube channels around real estate information, David has his channel Living in Omaha. David Matney, he lives in Omaha, Nebraska. He's a realtor. Go over, give him some love, subscribe to his channel, like and share. We are all here to build a community around informing you guys in regards to real estate and helping you make the best informative decisions if you decide to buy or sell. We don't want to force you. We just want to let you know and give you some education around real estate. So we appreciate you guys. Chloe said, you two are amazing. And and MHOA, David, actually, he does a live on Tuesdays at 8 what is it, 8 it's 8 o'clock our time. No, is it 8 o'clock, David? It's 8 o'clock or it's Eastern time. On our time. I'm always in the chat, so I always support David. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. And then MHOA say, oh, RV insurance would be a topic for another show. Yes, we got to talk about every type of insurance. We're going to have Tanya back. We're going to have Tanya back. So
sounds good, yeah.
So thank you again, Tanya. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you guys. Remember, tomorrow is Memorial Day, so remember to memorialize our wonderful veterans who have fought for us in different wars in order for us to live this great life in which we are able to live in America nowadays. David said he's 7 p.m. Central Time, so yes, so 8 p.m. our time, Eastern Time. So and then HOA said 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's about David, but he's 8 p.m. Eastern Time our time. So if you have an opportunity tomorrow, Tanya, please go over to his channel, check out David, live in Omaha, Nebraska, Omaha, David Matney, and yes, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you again. We will see you next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. And if you guys have any suggestions of what you want to kind of learn more about on the channel, let me know. Reach out to me via email or even in the chat below. And if you're watching this on replay, put some questions below. And also, if you want to reach out to Tanya, her information will be in the caption below as well with her email address. So reach out to her directly as well. Do you have any last words to say, Tanya, before we kind of exit off of the stream?
Right. Yeah. Just have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Feel free to share this information with others, because again, it's all about education, trying to help people make sure that they're adequately covered so that they can avoid surprises when the unfortunate things happen, when they have to file claims.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. And thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we will see you next Sunday. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.